In my past life, I was the envied wife of a high-ranking military officer, but my husband Meng Shuren sustained injuries to both his vocal cords and groin on the battlefield, leaving him impotent and mute. Thus began our 40-year sexless marriage. I never complained, faithfully enduring decades of silent marriage with a mute man, until my 60th birthday, when I stumbled upon over 500 phone cards hidden in his study, all calls made to his unattainable love, the Sonyan Dance Troupe's military belle. Turns out he wasn't incapable of speech, he simply refused to speak to me. He's perfectly capable of being a man, just not my man. The crushing blow sent me to my grave with bitter regret. When I opened my eyes again, it was 1984. In this lifetime, I'll never suffer for any man again. The 1980s were fertile ground for entrepreneurship, riding the winds of reform and opening up. I'm heading to Shenzhen to chase my dreams. The Shenzhen Special Economic Zone was established in August 1980 and had only been developing for 4 years at that point. Transportation from my hometown to there was severely underdeveloped. In this era, there were obviously no planes or bullet trains, just those old-fashioned green passenger trains. Forget about the 3 transfers required. The earliest available train wouldn't depart until Sunday. I circled the date on my calendar with red ink. 5 more days, and I'd finally leave this remote, isolated mountain village. I borrowed the Women's Association director's bicycle and rode all afternoon, finally reaching the station just before sunset to purchase my ticket. Turning around at the exit, I unexpectedly saw Meng Shuren, who had just stepped off the train. I was reborn, and he had regained his youth by 40 years, towering and straight-backed with striking arched eyebrows and piercing eyes. His commanding presence marked him as the youngest regimental commander in the army. The future holds limitless possibilities. The man I loved devotedly for decades in my past life. I foolishly believed that sharing a marriage certificate would make us family, even if he couldn't speak, couldn't consummate our marriage, or give me a child. I bore no resentment. Instead, she devoted her entire life's love and passion to caring for him, bringing him warmth. In the end, she turned her own life into a complete joke. Upon seeing me, Meng Shuren furrowed his refined brows. He spoke with evident displeasure. Yetin, didn't I tell you not to come meet me at the station? It suddenly dawned on me. Today was the day Meng Shuren was returning from military service to visit family. In my past life during this exact period, I'd sent him a telegram, mentioning we'd been engaged for 3 years, and how at 20 I was already considered an old maid in the countryside. So I told Meng Shuren I wanted to get married and become a military spouse. In the military, officers above certain ranks can arrange for their families to live with them. They also help military families with job placements and children's schooling. For couples enduring long-term separation, this is their most cherished hope. Meng Shuren was promoted to regimental commander last year, making him eligible for military family accompaniment. I've been longing for him to bring me along ever since, but he kept refusing. Frustrated, I sent him a telegram threatening to show up at his barracks with my luggage if he didn't come get me. Meng Shuren came back grudgingly and specifically told me not to meet him at the station. I knew he was deliberately keeping me at arm's length. It broke my heart. In my past life, I thought we were practically married since we were engaged, even without the official registration or consummation. That's how it works in the countryside. I want to be with Meng Shuren and can't wait to get our marriage certificate. Once I join him at the military base, I'll take care of all his daily needs. I'll bear his children too. But in this lifetime, I've given up any hope of becoming a military wife. My mind was so set on making it in Shenzhen that I completely forgot about Meng Shuren's return. I'm just here to buy a ticket to Shenzhen, not to pick him up at all. Meng Shuren misunderstood, his handsome face etched with impatience. In such a hurry, we're still young. There's no need to rush into marriage. Military life is tough. Joining you wouldn't be some cushy vacation. Your presence would just distract me. I still want to keep advancing my career. Meng Shuren immediately listed reasons why he didn't want me joining the army. I'm not here to pick you up. I agree it's too early to get married. Count me out of this military-style wedding. My words left Meng Shuren utterly stunned. But it quickly twisted into a mocking smirk. Yi Tan, when did you learn the art of strategic retreat? Meng Shuren was convinced I was head over heels for him, refusing to believe I'd actually give up following him to the military. I couldn't be bothered to explain. Anyway, in 5 days I'll be leaving for Shenzhen. From now on, the world's vast with no more ties to bind. It's over 20 miles from the city to the village. I borrowed the women's director's bicycle to ride here. On the way back, Meng Shuren pedaled with me riding pillion. Naturally, he rode faster than me, yet it still took him over 2 hours to reach the village. He didn't utter a single word to me the entire way. The journey was filled with awkward silence. It reminded me of those 40 years of marriage in my past life, a loneliness as profound as being mute. It was already past 8 in the evening when we reached the village. The villagers were thrifty, reluctant to turn on lights at night, leaving the whole settlement pitch dark. Our arrival set off a chorus of barking dogs. My mother passed away early, and my father died 10 years ago saving Meng Shuren. I've been living with the Meng family all these years. Uncle and Aunt Meng treated me wonderfully, always doting on me like their own daughter-in-law. As we entered, Aunt Meng was reheating food by the stove while nagging at Meng Shuren. Son, you did right by bringing your wife along to the army base. Seeing each other every day means we'll get to hold our chubby grandbaby sooner. Meng Shuren pressed his lips tightly together without uttering a word. He was a man of unwavering conviction. In his previous life, having failed to marry the woman he loved, he chose lifelong childlessness, letting the Meng family line die with him. Uncle Meng and Aunt Meng both passed away with unfulfilled regrets. Be good to Yezi, you owe the Yi family your life. If Uncle Yi hadn't saved you back then, you wouldn't even be alive today, let alone become a regiment commander. Sensing his son's impatience, Uncle Meng hastily added his final words. Enough, I already said I'll marry her. Will you stop pressuring me? I'm grateful Uncle Yi saved me, but it was just an accident. I'd rather die than owe such a huge debt of gratitude. Let me spend my whole life making it up. 10 years ago, my father served as the militia captain in our village. That year, a flash flood swept Meng Shuren into the mountain ravine. My father dove into the raging waters and managed to save Meng Shuren, but tragically lost his own life from exhaustion. Left orphaned, I've lived with the Meng family ever since. Child, from now on you'll be our Meng family's own daughter, Shuren's rightful bride. That promise ruined my entire life. Meng Shuren married me because of that vow. Yet he felt morally blackmailed into it. He resented me for hijacking his life and thwarting his chance at love. Even after 40 years of marriage, he wouldn't lay a finger on me or bother speaking to me. What kind of attitude is that? That's no way for a decent person to talk. You think just because you're a regiment commander now, I won't put you in your place, you little brat. Even if you become a general, I'll still be your father. Uncle Meng bristled with anger. Worried I'd take it to heart, he grabbed a rolling pin ready to strike Meng Shuren. Uncle, he's exhausted, let's eat first. I stepped in to defuse the situation. Anyway, I'll be leaving in a few days. I just want some peace and quiet, not this racket. What's worse, I know Uncle Meng's temper tantrums will only make Meng Shuren despise me more. Stubborn folks like him can't be beaten into submission. Sweetheart. Aunt Meng held my hand and whispered her advice. A man needs to be kept in line. Don't spoil him too much. What a wonderful mother-in-law she was. But fate decreed we'd never have that mother-daughter bond in this lifetime. We'd just sat down to eat when the village loudspeaker blared with the party secretary's booming voice. Shuren, the army just called, they say it's urgent. I'll say it again. Shan. Meng Shan stood up abruptly upon hearing the announcement. I must return to my unit. He grabbed his backpack and left without looking back. It's exactly like the scene from my past life. He barely had time to sit down at home before Chi Rongrong called him away. Chi Rongrong was a performer in the military's cultural troupe. She was beautiful, talented in singing and dancing, and could recite poetry. She was Meng Shuren's first love, though back in those days, we didn't yet have the term first love to describe it, but Chi Rongrong only needed to say the word, and Meng Shuren would move mountains for her. After Meng Shuren left in my past life, Uncle and Aunt Meng sent me to join the military, even arranging for a division commander to officiate our wedding. Unable to withstand the pressure any longer, Meng Shuren finally agreed to register our marriage and let me join him as a military spouse. But on our wedding night, Chi Rongrong summoned him away with just one phone call. Then he claimed he had to leave for a mission. When he returned, both his vocal cords and groin were injured. Condemned to die a virgin, forced to communicate with my husband through notes and gestures for 40 years, swallowing my tears while devoting myself to his daily care, tending to my in-laws. How could I be so stupid? It never occurred to me, if he were truly mute, how could he have risen from regiment commander to general officer in the military? He'd have been medically discharged long ago. He communicates perfectly fine giving orders in the army, just can't be bothered to talk to me at home. I've always minded my own business and never pried into his military affairs. That's how I remained in the dark for decades. On my 60th birthday, while cleaning his study, I discovered a box containing over 500 phone cards. All were those special IC cards for making international calls. Chi Rongrong later married abroad, went through 2 divorces, and ended up living a rather difficult life. Meng Shuren believed he'd failed his first love, so he spent 40 years making amends with unwavering tenderness. The house and cars Chi Rongrong owned overseas were all purchased by him. He refused to have children with me, yet treated Chi Rongrong's 3 kids from previous marriages as his own, covered all tuition and living expenses for those 3 children. Meng Shuren even attended their weddings as the bride's family representative. I was completely kept in the dark about all this. I never questioned where he spent the money. Absolute trust was repaid with the cruelest betrayal. Learning the truth shattered my entire world, that desperate plunge from the balcony. So I'll live this life again. I'm done with emotionally unavailable men. 4 days left until my Shenzhen trip, packing my essentials. Orphans may be lonely, but the silver lining is having no attachments. We can leave anytime. A few changes of clothes were stuffed into the travel bag. She'd stitched a hidden pocket inside her undershirt, containing her ID card and 300 yuan. That was every penny to my name. Back in 1984, urban workers barely made 30 yuan a month. 300 yuan was an absolute fortune back then. This is the compensation money after Dad's sacrifice. I've kept it untouched for 10 years. In my past life when I married Meng Shuren, I used this money to buy him a Shanghai brand watch. Then I purchased a sewing machine and a brand new Forever bicycle, taking them all when I followed him to the military base. But I never once saw him wear that watch. I'm certainly not going to kiss up to someone who treats me coldly ever again in this lifetime. Those 300 yuan became my seed money for starting a business in Shenzhen. When Uncle Meng and Auntie Meng saw me packing, they were delighted, thinking I was joining the military as a dependent. They wanted to send me there, but I turned them down. Aunt Meng handed me another 500 yuan, calling it the Meng family's betrothal gift, but I kept refusing. Aunt Meng wouldn't take no for an answer and insisted I take it. In the end, I had no choice but to accept. My father gave his life for the Meng family. I'm taking this money with a clear conscience. 3 days before leaving for Shenzhen, I visited my parents' graves to say goodbye. Mom, Dad, I'm going to Shenzhen to contribute to our country's reform and opening up. Wait for your daughter to come home. Don't worry about me. I'll be perfectly happy without Meng Shuren. On Sunday, I bid farewell to Uncle Meng and Auntie Meng, leaving the mountain village I'd called home for over 20 years as the green train chugged its way toward Xincheng. Xincheng lay over 1,000 kilometers away. The journey required 3 transfers and would take 3 days and 2 nights, whether by coincidence or divine will. The city where I first transferred trains happened to be where Meng Shuren's military unit was stationed. There was a 3-hour layover between trains. It never crossed my mind to use that time to bid Meng Shuren farewell. It's unnecessary, and he couldn't care less. I was just having noodles at the state-run guest house outside the station when I unexpectedly ran into Meng Shuren and spotted Chi Rongrong. In the early 1980s, Chinese people's wardrobes were limited to just 2 colors, military green and light gray. Qirengrong stood out in the crowd wearing a canary yellow dress. The two were also dining here. A large bag sat beside Qirengrong. It contained performance costumes, suggesting their troupe was preparing for a show. Meng Shuren had come to see me off. Our eyes met across the platform. I pretended not to know him, but after a brief flush of embarrassment, his face quickly regained that trademark look of superiority. He strode right up to me. Yetin, you're getting more and more self-willed. I didn't go to pick you up. Who told you to come to the military base on your own? Do you think joining the military is like playing house? It requires a lot of procedures. You're just causing me trouble. Meng Shuren has always been an outstanding person. From a young age to adulthood, he was also a key trainee in the military, and I've always regarded him as a ideal man. That's why he's so confident that he's almost narcissistic. Meng Shuren, I'm just passing by, not here to see you. Ha ha ha, Meng Shuren let out a mocking laugh. Yi Tan, how did you learn to lie now? Not a single word of truth. The other day you said you wouldn't marry me, and now you're chasing me to the army. I've told you this many times. I'm focused on my career right now, and I don't want you holding me back. He was about to say something more when Chi Rongrong spoke softly. Captain Meng, calm down outside, and let me talk to Sister Yi. Sister Yi came here tired and weary to seek refuge with you. So don't let her feel disheartened. Meng Shuren snorted and left the guest house. Chi Rongrong came closer to me, her smile disappearing. She whispered a taunt, her voice barely audible to anyone but the two of us. What does a country bumpkin like you have that the regiment leader would marry you for? You really have the nerve to follow him to the military camp like this. Isn't it just using your dad's life to force Shuren to marry you? Ha. The life of a country bumpkin is worthless. They deserve to die. She wanted to say more. Slap. I delivered a hard slap across Chi Rongrong's face. I had been waiting for this slap for 2 lifetimes, so I put all my strength into it. 5 clear handprints appeared on Chi Rongrong's fair little face. In my previous life, when I joined the army, Chi Rongrong said almost the exact same thing. Although I was furious, I held back from striking out, fearing that Meng Xian would see me as a shrew. As a result, Chi Rongrong deliberately fell down and falsely accused me of hitting her, so in this life, I actually slapped her. That way, she wouldn't have to put on a fake act. Chi Rongrong's face flashed with astonishment. Clearly, she didn't expect me to actually dare to strike. But then came the delight, as she covered her face and cried out, "Captain, she hit me." Meng Xian rushed in immediately upon hearing the sound. "Yi Tan, you're getting more and more outrageous. Apologize." Chi Rongrong covered her face, a flash of satisfaction in her eyes. "I was forced to apologize in my past life." I cried and explained that Chi Rongrong provoked me first, and I didn't even raise a hand, but Meng Xian wouldn't listen at all. He didn't believe Chi Rongrong could say something so vicious. "Rongrong reads poetry, Shelley, Goethe, Pushkin. I can't believe she would be so mean. I certainly don't need to explain myself in this lifetime. I can't eat anymore, so I get up and leave." This is the first time in all these years that I've gone against Meng Xian. He's absolutely livid. "If you won't apologize, get the hell out of here. I won't marry a shrew like you." I stopped and turned around. "Xian, don't worry, you won't see me again." He suddenly felt a bit panicked. "What? What do you mean?" "Exactly what you hoped it meant. Fortunately, we were only engaged, not married, so our marriage is cancelled. From now on, you and I have no relationship whatsoever. Don't feel obligated. Even though my dad risked his life to save you, you're not required to marry me. Like you said, it was just an accident. My dad is a good man. He would have jumped in to save anyone who fell into the river, not to force you into marrying me. His daughter isn't that bad. She doesn't need to resort to such measures to get married." Hearing this, Meng Xian's face showed embarrassment and shame. That's not what I meant. I'm really grateful to Uncle Meng." "No need to be grateful anymore. He has passed away. These words are meaningless now." I turned my head and walked into the station. Meng Xian thought I had been persuaded by him to agree to return to the village, let out a long breath and caught up again. I'll see you back to the village. Just give me a few more days for the military matter." Even now, Meng Xian still doesn't believe I'm really breaking up with him. I can't be bothered to explain. Crash. Chi Rongrong deliberately knocked over the table, and the noodles I had just started eating spilled all over her. Meng Xian quickly stopped in his tracks, intent on returning to take care of his white moonlight. "Call me when you get home." He fished out 100 yuan from his pocket and stuffed it into my hand, then turned and ran back. I strode into the station, although I told myself not to cry, but the tears still flowed uncontrollably. "Farewell, Meng Xian, from this moment on. You have been erased from my life. From now on, the mountains are high and the rivers are long, and my joys and sorrows have nothing to do with you." The train swayed for 3 days and 2 nights before finally arriving in Shenzhen. In my previous life, I had been to Shenzhen a few times, but back then, Shenzhen was already on par with Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou, ranking as a top-tier domestic city and a renowned international metropolis. But over 40 years ago, Shenzhen started as a small fishing village. In 1984, Shenzhen was at its most vibrant, poised for rapid development. Choosing to strive in Shenzhen after my rebirth is because this is a paradise for entrepreneurs and dreamers. I walk the streets of Shenzhen, although the street scene at this moment is still humble, with few skyscrapers in sight and no luxury cars lining the streets, but the streets are bustling with people, and you can hear dialects from all over the country. These are the young people chasing their dreams in Shenzhen. Decades later, many well-known entrepreneurs and billionaires will emerge from this group. I am fortunate to be part of them. With the advantage of being reborn, I am sure I will succeed too. This will not let down the chance heaven has given me to try again. I already have a plan for what to do in Shenzhen, although there are many factories in Shenzhen at this time. Some are state-owned, some are joint ventures, and others are foreign-owned. But I never considered working in a factory, because I only have a junior high school education. Even if I were reborn, I wouldn't suddenly become a scientific genius. I can't create high-tech stuff like computers, phones, or chips. Besides, I have limited capital, only 1,000 yuan. I can only do businesses that have low entry barriers, require little investment, but still make money. Service industry, more specifically, it means running a restaurant. Although this era has already opened up, allowing people to engage in business and commerce, individual industrial and commercial operators are called individual households, however, due to the limitations of thought. The vast majority of people in society still consider being an individual household to be a deviant path, even disgraceful. The best options are still joining the military or working in a factory. It's best to work in a state-owned factory. This is called an iron rice bowl. Therefore, private individual economies are rare. As you walked down the street, you could hardly see any shops other than state-run restaurants, post offices, supply and marketing cooperatives, and grocery stores. Take the restaurants for example. The waitstaff in state-run restaurants were all formal, salaried employees, so there was no such thing as the customer is God or smiling service. The waitstaff were all incredibly arrogant. It's really hard to get in, the service is bad, and the words are harsh. So many people, even if they have money, don't want to eat at these state-run restaurants. It's all too easy to leave without a good meal and a belly full of anger. That's why I plan to start my entrepreneurship by opening a small snack shop. The location was chosen in the Shiko industrial zone of Shenzhen, I counted, and there are over 100 factories here, with a total of about 50,000 to 60,000 workers, mostly from out of town. Many are single and lack the conditions to cook for themselves, compared to inland areas. Workers here earn higher incomes. Some workers can even earn 200 yuan a month, although many factories have canteens. People naturally want to improve their living conditions when they have money, have a delicious meal. Therefore, the catering industry is absolutely essential. Moreover, I have a unique advantage. In my previous life, after joining the army, I worked in the logistics department, specifically in charge of the mess hall. Soldiers in the army come from all over the country, and they have diverse preferences in food. And because I had no warmth at home, there was no one to talk to. So my only interest is cooking, exploring the diverse regional cuisines, signature dishes, and unique snacks from all over the country: Shandong cuisine, Sichuan cuisine, Cantonese cuisine, Fujian cuisine, Jiangsu cuisine, Zhejiang cuisine, Hunan cuisine, Anhui cuisine. There's nothing I can't do. I'm quite skilled at hot pot, barbecue, and noodles. Even Western cuisine and desserts are no problem. Rent is cheap these days. I spent 150 yuan to rent a storefront on the street, and used the rest to buy pots, pans, and ingredients. Leaf Restaurant officially opens. The 1980s were a time of scarcity, where supply couldn't meet demand. If you're bold and willing to work hard, you can't fail to make money. My restaurant was packed from the moment it opened because we could cook specialties from all over the country. Many migrant workers in Shenzhen come to my place to eat, saying they can taste the flavor of home. I was overwhelmed, so I hired 2 waiters. The 3 of us were spinning like tops, and after a month, although it was exhausting, we tallied up the accounts. After deducting rent and waiters' salaries, I netted 2,000 yuan. What was the significance of 2,000 yuan in 1984? Is the income of a worker's family for 2 years. Is the income of a farmer for 5 years. I cried looking at the ledger. These are tears of happiness. Women don't need men, because men will betray and hurt you, but the RMB never will. It's already been half a year in Shenzhen. The better the restaurant business, the better. My savings also reached 10,000, making me a prestigious 10,000 yuan household. This was an enviable title in the 1980s. It was even more prestigious than being a millionaire in later years. My restaurant has been growing in size. Initially, I rented 1 storefront, but now I have 3. I now have 6 employees working under me. I'm not an unscrupulous boss. I'm very generous with my staff. Their salaries are well above average, and they also receive additional bonuses, so everyone was full of energy. One day, as I was busy at the restaurant, I suddenly heard a surprised voice, "Yizi." I turned around and was pleasantly surprised to meet a fellow villager, Lu, the village accountant. He came to Shenzhen on business and happened to dine at my restaurant for lunch. Of course, I was very warm when I met a fellow villager. Not only did I add several hearty dishes, but I also comped the meal. Lu, the accountant, didn't start eating. Instead, he looked anxious. "Yizi, what are you doing here? You have no idea. The Meng family has been in chaos searching for you these past 6 months. Commander Meng is going crazy." 6 months ago, I boarded a train to Shenzhen. Both the Meng family and villagers thought I was joining the army camp to marry Meng Shuren officially. Later during a transfer, I ran into Meng Shuren and Qi Rongrong. Meng Shuren believed the same, then they sent me away again. He thought I'd gone back to the village. Nobody knew I'd come to Shenzhen. This created a classic case of crossed wires. The villagers assumed I was still in the army, while Meng Shuren believed I'd returned home. The first few days passed without incident. When Meng Shuren hadn't received my check-in call after several days, he phoned the village to inquire. Only then did they realize I'd never returned. I'd seemingly vanished into thin air. Everyone was frantic. Meng Shuren took leave and searched everywhere for me. I didn't have a phone. Back then, there were no surveillance cameras, and train tickets weren't. Where can you find me? Meng Shuren searched for 2 whole months but found nothing. Even the police station couldn't do anything, so everyone thought something had happened to me. He must have been killed on the way. Auntie Meng cries at home every day. Uncle Meng broke Sean Meng's arm with a rolling pin. They called him an ungrateful wretch and blamed him for my death. The villagers also felt sorry for me, saying I was pitiful. That's why Lu, the accountant, was so shocked to suddenly see me running a restaurant in Shenzhen, looking so vibrant. Leaf, come back with me. Everyone is waiting for you. I shook my head. I'm not going back. I'm doing just fine in Shenzhen. Uncle Lu, could you please go back and tell Uncle Meng and Aunt Meng that I'm doing well and they don't need to worry about me? The accountant slapped his thigh hard. Why are you being so stubborn, girl? What should we do about Commander Meng not getting married? No. I shook my head firmly. I've had nothing to do with him for a long time. After Accountant Lu left, I continued to bustle around the restaurant. The biggest inconvenience of this era, besides the lack of mobile networks, is the inability to make online payments. All transactions must be conducted in cash. Every night after finishing work, I have to carefully account for the cash received. The next day at noon, I go to the bank to deposit the money. I dare not keep too much money on hand to avoid attracting envy. It's impossible for my restaurant's booming business not to attract attention. That night it rained, and the outside was unusually dark. I rented a small house in the alley behind the restaurant. Just as I was about to lock the restaurant door and go back to rest, I was shoved forcefully, pushed back into the room again. A slick, shady man sneered as he entered the room. He came to rob. Shenzhen is crowded with people, some genuinely here to start businesses and get rich, others here to make quick, illegal money. Not only did he come in to rob, but he also had inappropriate intentions towards me. This little lady is quite pretty. The thug pushed me onto the table and was about to commit a heinous act. I bit the thug's hand hard. He jumped up, clutching his bleeding hand and cursing furiously. Are you part dog or something? The thug was still trying to bully me. I rushed into the kitchen and grabbed a kitchen knife. Don't come near me, or I'll fight you to the death. The thug wasn't scared off. Instead, it stirred his viciousness. Damn it. Don't think I can't handle a little girl like you. He charged at me again. I would rather die than be defiled. I made up my mind that if I couldn't escape, I would commit suicide. At the critical moment, don't move. A man in military uniform burst in. The military uniform exuded an innate authority, and the criminals fled in panic. It's Meng Shuren, although he had a sling on one arm, indicating his fracture hadn't fully healed, but he easily subdued the thug with his other hand. The police station came and took the person away. It turned out to be a fugitive. Only after everything was settled did Meng Shuren look at me with a complicated expression. Yi Tan, you made me search so hard. Meng Shuren came after hearing the news from the accountant Lu. Come back with me. Everyone at home is waiting for you. I want to marry you. I've already submitted a report to the division commander about joining the army. Stop it. I've had enough of the complaints since you disappeared these past 6 months. His handsome face was etched with exhaustion. Thank goodness you're safe, or I would never forgive myself for the rest of my life. I heard he's willing to marry me, but I feel no excitement or happiness at all, because for me, it's already an insignificant small matter. Captain Meng, thank you for saving me, but go back. I won't marry you. I've made it very clear to you before. Meng Shuren is feeling both embarrassed and angry. Yi Tan, don't push your luck. I've already compromised. What more do you want? This kind of drama won't do you any good. Aren't you just jealous of Kirangrong? We are innocent. We are just spiritual soulmates. I shook my head firmly. I'm not making a scene. I just don't want to marry you. Whether you marry Chi Rongrong or someone else, it's none of my business. If you're worried about how to explain things to Uncle and Aunt Meng, I'll write you a letter. In it, I'll say it's because I don't want to marry you, so they won't pressure you anymore. Hearing me say this, for the first time in both lifetimes, Meng Shuren truly believed I didn't love him. I don't want to be his wife anymore. His face showed shock, confusion, and relief. I can understand all of this. He has finally let go of me, this big burden, but why the sense of loss and reluctance? Are you serious? Yes, I am. I've already taken out the stationery to write to Uncle and Aunt Meng. Yen, it's not that. It's not that I have no feelings for you at all. I just feel like everyone says I owe you. I feel pressured. I felt like marrying you was just completing a task, that's why I resisted. I didn't want to. He was stammering, trying to explain. Don't say anything. None of this matters anymore. I gave the letter to Meng Xian. Captain Meng, we are free from now on. After Meng Xian left, my life went on. Before I knew it, the year was coming to an end, and it was time for me to return to my hometown to pay respects at my parents' grave. After 9 months of hard work in Shin City, I've earned 30,000 yuan. Returning to the village now would definitely be considered a triumphant homecoming. I'm wearing beautiful clothes. I have a red down jacket on top and black knee-high boots on the bottom. This outfit is so rare in the mainland that not only does no one wear it, but many people have never even seen it, since Shenzhen is close to Hong Kong. The clothing and fashion trends come from there. Fashion trends are years ahead of those in mainland cities, let alone in rural areas. As soon as I entered the village, the whole place went into a frenzy. Dozens of kids surrounded me. I brought a lot of New Year's goods, and just the white rabbit candies filled a big bag. Everyone gets a share. The kids are over the moon. After my parents passed away, many kind villagers in the village helped and looked after me. I cannot forget these kindnesses. I went to their homes to deliver New Year's red envelopes. Each red envelope contains 200 yuan. This is definitely a huge amount, and it has stirred up the whole village again. Everyone envies me for making money outside and being capable. Of course, the red envelope for Uncle Meng and Aunt Meng is separate. Each red envelope is 1,000. After all, they raised me for 10 years. Although I couldn't become their daughter-in-law, I can't forget this kindness. Uncle Meng refused the red envelope and got really upset about it. Girl, I have no face to take your money. Our Meng family owes you an apology. Aunt Meng is crying. Girl, my foolish son is not blessed. I could only comfort them. This day was the 29th of the Chinese New Year. Uncle Meng and Aunt Meng insisted on keeping me at their home. At that moment, 2 more people entered, bringing a chill with them. Meng Shuren brought Qi Rongrong back for the new year. Meng Shuren stared at me in shock. Qi Rongrong glared at my down jacket and boots with intense jealousy, as if flames were shooting out of her eyes. Now that they're back, I certainly don't want to stay at the Meng's house anymore to avoid awkwardness for everyone. Aunt Meng wouldn't let me go no matter what. She completely ignored Qi Rongrong. In the end, I stayed in my original room. Aunt Meng finally spoke to Qi Rongrong. No titles, no sharing a room. Don't want people laughing at us. That night, Aunt Meng let Qi Rongrong stay in Meng Xian's room, but kicked Meng Xian out to the storage shed. There's no stove inside. It gets really cold in winter. Aunt Meng didn't seem to care. She muttered under her breath, freeze to death. Yuchen shimmy. That night was restless. First, in the middle of the night, Qi Rongrong needed to use the bathroom but refused to go to the outhouse, saying it was dirty. In the end, Meng Shuren had to go out and borrow a spittoon. Naturally, Aunt Meng was even more displeased with Qi Rongrong. We rural folks are like this. If you're disgusted, don't come. Who invited you anyway? Qi Rongrong was so angry that tears welled up in her eyes. Meng Shuren couldn't hold back anymore. Mom, can you stop talking for a moment? Little rooster, long tail, marries a wife and forgets his mother. Aunt Meng pointed at Meng Shuren. If you marry her, don't even think of calling me your mother. It wasn't until the wee hours of the morning that the commotion finally subsided. The next morning, as I was about to visit my parents' graves, I found my bright red down jacket slashed with over a dozen large cuts. No doubt about it, it must have been Qi Rongrong. This woman was driven mad by jealousy and took out her anger on me after being upset by Aunt Meng. It's nothing to me, but Uncle and Aunt Meng are furious. Even Shuren Meng lost his temper with Rongrong for the first time. Rongrong, apologize. How could you do this? He looked at me with an apologetic expression. Yi Tan, I'm sorry. How much is this outfit? I'll pay for it. I shook my head. Forget it. It's worthless. I don't care. But Qi Rongrong is going crazy. You country bumpkin. What are you pretending for? What gives you the right to wear such beautiful clothes? Do you even deserve it? Hee hee. Who knows where your money came from? I heard many shameless women go south to be prostitutes. You must have sold yourself too. Smack. A crisp slap rang out. This time, it was Meng Shuren who struck. He pointed at Qi Rongrong. Shut up. You hit me. I hate you so much. Qi Rongrong ran away crying. Meng Shuren didn't chase after her but looked at me with a conflicted expression. Yi, go after her. I'm fine. I'm going to visit my parents' graves. I left the Meng household to visit my parents' graves. I left the village that very day. I no longer care about any further stories between Meng Shuren and Qi Rongrong. After the spring, Meng Shuren came to Shenzhen again. He brought me a red down jacket of the same style. He said it was compensation for me. I accepted it, but he refused to leave. Yi Tan, I was wrong before, and actually, I still think you're great. Rongrong is too much. It was my fault before. I didn't appreciate what I had. Poetry is for occasional reading, not for daily life. He had a look of deep guilt in his eyes. Meng Shuren asked cautiously, Can we still? It's all in the past. I cut him off. He left reluctantly. After that, he wrote me a letter almost every month, but I never opened any of them. I just threw them directly into the stove and burned them. Before I knew it, the end of the second year had arrived, and I had already opened 3 restaurants. I now manage over 30 employees. My annual income exceeds 100,000. When I returned to my hometown, I didn't inform anyone. I only visited my parents' graves and left that same night. Because of me, some people from my hometown have come to work in Shenzhen. I always try my best to help. I heard that in 1987, Meng Shuren still married Qi Rongrong. It was Qi Rongrong who forced him. Meng Shuren never wanted to get married. Later, Qi Rongrong drugged him. Qi Rongrong caused a scene at the division headquarters, and Meng Xian had no choice but to marry her. However, the couple often argued and their relationship was strained. Qi Rongrong also had a difficult relationship with her in-laws. Eventually, Meng Shuren voluntarily requested to be stationed in the frontier, leading to a long-term separation, and they had no children. Then came the 1990s. I had become the chairman of a listed company. Besides catering, the industry also includes tourism, film, and real estate. After all, I've been reborn, so I naturally know which industries are on the rise. My personal wealth has exceeded 1 billion, but I've never gotten married. Men are boring. My career is my lifelong companion. The next time I heard about Meng Xian was in 1994. He was fired. The reason was that Qi Rongrong was insisting on going abroad, saying that there was less money to be made domestically and that she wanted to enjoy a better life overseas. Meng Xian disagreed. He was already the chief of staff of the division at that time, in charge of a significant amount of training funds. Qi Rongrong actually went to the extreme of stealing the funds to go abroad. Although she was later caught and imprisoned, Qi Rongrong was sent to jail. Meng Xian was also dismissed from the military due to negligence of duty. By this time, Uncle Meng and Aunt Meng had passed away, so I naturally had no further contact with him. 20 more years passed, and it was 2024. I am 60 years old. The same age as when I was reborn in my previous life. My net worth has reached 30 billion. I still live alone. But I've done a lot of public welfare work. That day, my assistant drove me to attend a charity awards ceremony. As we passed the underground parking lot, I saw an old security guard dozing off inside, wearing a shabby green uniform. Meng Shuren, long time no see. Story 2. After discovering my husband's affair with my sister, I fell apart emotionally. Yushan never interfered in our relationship. I've always loved her. You're the third party in my relationship with Yushan. Lu Yuanchao's eyes were bloodshot, his tone cold and hard, each word sharp and cutting, striking deep into my heart. My face turned as pale as paper in an instant, my whole body trembling under the weight of pain, anger, and humiliation. My question sharp and desperate. I'm the third party. You were the one who begged me to marry you on your knees back then, and now you're saying you've always loved Feng Yushan. Then she let out a bitter laugh. And as she laughed, tears streamed down her face uncontrollably. Seeing my desperate and shattered appearance, Lu Yuanchao was instantly jolted awake. Thrown into panic, he instinctively reached out to touch me but quickly pulled his hand back, his lips trembling as he struggled to form a coherent sentence. Shuyao, that's not what I meant. You, listen to me. I walked out the door with a vacant stare, like a soulless zombie careening down the street. Suddenly, a bright light pierced toward me. And in the instant I was hit by a truck. I thought, this isn't as intense as the heartache. 1. The smell of disinfectant filled my nostrils, and I jolted awake, squinting at the blinding sunlight streaming through the gap in the curtains. Miss Fong, you're fine now, just a bit weak. Make sure to get plenty of nutrients, the young nurse said softly as she entered the room. I looked at her in disbelief, the pain of betrayal still lingering in my nerves, my mind in a daze. This was the scene I woke up to after fainting by the poolside and being rushed to the hospital when I was 20. 3 days earlier, I had won the gold medal at the national dance competition, and my parents, insisting on celebrating, had hosted a banquet at the Bin Hotel. Fang Yushan failed her graduation exam at the beginning of the month. Although she acted as if nothing had happened, her parents told her it was okay. but I knew her sensitivity and delicacy, and I kept an eye on her throughout the banquet. Later, she disappeared, and I went outside to look for her, only to be accidentally knocked into the swimming pool by a child. The icy water left me unconscious. I hadn't yet snapped out of the disorientation of my rebirth when the hospital room door opened again. Lu Yuanchao held a bouquet of flowers, with a concerned Fang Yushan following behind him. "How are you feeling?" Lu Yuanchao walked to the side of my bed, his hand reaching for my forehead. "Your fever has gone down, just rest well, and you'll recover." I instinctively moved away from his touch, my face a mix of emotions. "I'm fine. Thank you." Fang Yushan stepped forward. "Sister. It's all my fault. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have ended up in the hospital." Her face was streaked with tears, her voice trembling, her eyes filled with guilt. Lu Yuanchao quickly patted her back gently, pulling her down to sit. "It's not your fault, it's just an accident." The tone was one of tenderness he had never shown me. Fang Yushan's body leaned slightly toward him, looking up at him with gratitude, and a barely noticeable sense of dependence. I coldly observed their interaction, mocking myself inwardly. How obvious the flirtation was, yet I hadn't noticed it at all in my previous life. Perhaps sensing my cold gaze, Lu Yuanchao's face showed a hint of unease, and he hurriedly said, "Yushan and I came to pick you up from the hospital. When we got home, my mother helped me to the dining room. Yushan asked Aunt Wang to prepare all these dishes, all your favorites," she said, adding a piece of spare ribs to my plate. Yushan cried all night yesterday, repeatedly saying she wished it was her who had fallen into the water. As I listened to my mother's endless chatter, I looked at the greasy piece of spare ribs and lost all appetite. "Mom, I want to go back to my room first." Mother paused for a moment. "Okay." She helped me push my chair back. "I'll keep the food warm. Eat later if you're hungry." Lying in bed, I recalled all the events of my previous life with Lu Yuanchao. And many details I hadn't paid attention to before came to mind. Since he said I was unnecessary, this time I'll let them be and no longer stand in their way. The next day, I packed my bags to move into the school dormitory. "Yuqing, why do you want to move out?" my mother asked, puzzled. "The school isn't far, and isn't it better to have the driver take you every day?" I placed the hairdryer in my suitcase and said, "The exams are coming up, and I want to focus on preparing." "Sister, please don't move out," Fang Yushan pleaded, tugging at my sleeve. "I'll miss you if I can't see you." She habitually pouted coquettishly, blinking her eyes and speaking in a soft, sweet voice, as if this would make me fulfill all her demands as I used to. I gently tugged my sleeve back. "I'll move back after the exams." That evening, Lu Yuanchao came to see me. "Are you moving to the school?" He handed me a box of strawberry pastries. "Can't you not move?" Yushan is very upset. I didn't take the box. I've never liked strawberry. I prefer blueberry. I used to think he couldn't tell the difference between these two flavors, but now I realize it's because he didn't care. Every time Fang Yushan likes peach flavor, he never gets it wrong. "If you need a tutor, I can help. You don't have to go to school," he said seriously, placing the box on the table. "No need," I replied casually. "I just want to focus on my studies and not be disturbed." "All right then. I'm always here if you need my help." He gazed at me affectionately, his face filled with concern, as if his entire being was devoted to me. If it weren't for experiencing a lifetime, I would surely have fallen into it again. "I never loved you at all. It's you who misunderstood that I loved you." And both sets of parents also misunderstood that we were in love. The memory of his previous life's righteous deflection of responsibility resurfaced in my mind, once pushing me into the abyss of despair, making me feel that my decade-long efforts were nothing but a self-indulgent joke. 2. After moving out, I experienced an unprecedented sense of peace, focusing all my energy on studying and dance practice. In my previous life, I had the opportunity to study abroad, but I gave it up because of Lu Yuanchao. This time, I will not make the same mistake. At 10 p.m., I left the practice room. "Fang Yuqing, someone is looking for you downstairs." My roommate Zhang Lily saw me, blinked her eyes, and looked curious. "Is it your boyfriend? He's so handsome." I looked out the window and saw a tall figure standing under the plane tree, holding a box and constantly glancing toward the entrance. "No," I replied calmly, ignoring her teasing. Instead of going downstairs, I took out my phone from the cabinet and sent a message to Lu Yuanchao. "Did you need something from me? If you don't want to get entangled with him again, try to avoid meeting him." The phone rang beside me, and I hesitated for a moment before answering. "Yuqing, I bought you some food." Lu Yuanchao's warm voice came through the phone. "Come down and take it up." "Thank you, but I don't need it." I hung up the phone, feeling completely unmoved. Lu Yuanchao froze in place, surprised by my coldness. It felt like something had changed from before, as he walked out of the school gate. Fan Yushan was waiting for him in the passenger seat of the car. "Chao Ge, did you see my sister?" she asked softly, her big watery eyes looking up at him. "No," Lu Yuanchao replied stiffly, still caught up in the words "I don't need it." "She didn't come downstairs. It's all my fault for twisting my ankle, or I could have taken my sister to her dorm," Fan Yushan said, full of guilt. "It's been so long since she's been home, I don't even know how she's doing physically." As she spoke, tears welled up in her eyes. Lu Yuanchao suddenly snapped back to reality. Feeling a strong surge of heartache and reluctance. All right, don't cry. I know you're worried about your sister. Don't worry, she'll be fine." After saying that, he gently wiped away the tears from Fan Yushan's face and tapped her nose. "You're much thinner than her. You need to eat more." When he got home, Lu Yuanchao took out his phone and stared blankly at Fan Yuqing's name. Before today's message, Fan Yuqing hadn't contacted him for a long time. The most recent one was from the day of the banquet, asking if he could come earlier so she could wear the necklace he was going to give her. The necklace was a new design by Mr. Chloe, and Fan Yuqing had been waiting for it for a long time. He had originally planned to surprise her when he got it, but unexpectedly, Fan Yushan told Fan Yuqing about his successful reservation right away. And her eyes sparkled with joy like shattered stars. Lu Yuanchao's lips unconsciously curved into a smile as he thought of Fan Yuqing's appearance at the time. He tapped a few times on the screen and sent Fan Yuqing a message. "Are you asleep? How about having lunch together tomorrow noon?" After a long time, the screen remained still. A hint of disappointment flashed across Lu Yuanchao's face. Maybe she's already asleep and didn't see it. He consoled himself. "I lay in bed, looking at Lu Yuanchao's message, and couldn't help but feel the irony. Is this a date with me, or following Fan Yushan's arrangement? Every time we were alone together in the past, Fan Yushan would always coincidentally appear. "Yushan is alone, let's go together," he would always say. I never felt it was inappropriate. Lu Yuanchao and I have known each other since childhood and grew up together. He often accompanied me to the training room. We discussed our studies, participated in outdoor activities, and even shared our little secrets with each other. Our friends and both sets of parents almost universally assumed we were a perfect match and would inevitably end up together. I used to firmly believe that. Looking back now, I was so naive. Fan Yushan was 5 years younger than me, and back then, she was like a little shadow following us around. Compared to my excellence, Fan Yushan was quite ordinary. She was introverted, timid, and insecure. Her parents never had any expectations of her, believing that as long as she was happy, that was enough. I took great care of her, feeling a natural sense of responsibility as her older sister. I never imagined she would get entangled with Lu Yuanchao, my childhood sweetheart and husband, and my own blood sister, working together to push me into the abyss. Looking back now, I realize I was a fool in my previous life, unable to see through or understand anything. I remember that Valentine's Day when I made a date with Lu Yuanchao to walk across the Lover's Bridge. Fan Yushan's arrival turned the two-person walk into a three-person stroll. I gently reminded her, "Mom is waiting for you at home." With tears in her eyes, she looked at me. "Sister, did I disturb you and Chao Ge?" As she spoke, she staggered back 2 steps and turned around. "I'll go home now." Her slightly trembling back, due to crying, looked desolate, prompting Lu Yuanchao to reproach me. "Yuqing, she's your sister. How could you treat her like this?" I blushed with shame and felt deeply guilty. "Brother Chao, don't scold my sister." She ran back and held my hand. "It's all my fault. I shouldn't have disturbed you." Lu Yuanchao immediately stepped forward to support her, pulling her into his embrace. "It's not your fault. It's your sister who was wrong." Back then, I didn't notice anything unusual and felt utterly ashamed of what I had just said. 3. The next morning, I finally replied to Lu Yuanchao, "No, thank you, I need to study." Then I put him out of my mind and threw myself into my heavy studies. That evening, I got a call from my dad. "Yuqing, Grandpa Lu is coming back from abroad tomorrow, and we're having dinner at their family's old house." In my past life, Grandpa Lu always treated me well, whether before or after marriage. Although I didn't want to see Lu Yuanchao again, I couldn't avoid going when he returned. I didn't wear the high-end dress my parents prepared for me. Instead, I just wore simple jeans and a white shirt. Upon arriving at the old mansion, I saw Lu Yuanchao and Fan Yushan standing in the garden, laughing and chatting. I handed the gift to Grandpa Lu. "Grandpa, I wish you good health. Come here, girl, and sit by Grandpa." He then called for Lu Yuanchao. "Go get Yuqing a cup of tea. It's hot today." The servant next to them chuckled, covering her mouth. "As soon as Miss Fang arrives, our work gets taken over by the young master. That's what that rascal should do." Grandpa Lu laughed along. I took the tea, offering a distant thank you, probably noticing my coldness. During dinner, Grandpa Lu deliberately had me seated next to Lu Yuanchao. Sister, can I sit next to you? Fan Yushan stepped forward, her eyes filled with pleading. I miss you so much, and it's been so long since we had a meal together. Lu Yuanchao quickly made way, pulling Fan Yushan to sit between us. Then filled her plate with several of her favorite dishes. Chao Ge, sister loves this dish, you should give her some. Fan Yushan pointed at a plate. I calmly refused. I don't like it anymore. Sister, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Her eyes were red, and tears were about to fall from her lashes. I looked up at her, my expression understanding. Perhaps my gaze was too direct, as it immediately pricked her nerves. In her fluster, she knocked over the wine glass, her hands at a loss. Yuqing. You scared Yuzhen, Lu Yuanchao said, his tone reproachful. Yuzhen only cares about you. I glanced at him briefly and continued eating. Grandpa Lu sensed the strange atmosphere among the three of us and asked Lu Yuanchao to see me home after the meal. Yuqing, I wasn't blaming you. He took my hand and looked into my eyes. Yushan is quite timid, you should be more understanding. I subtly pulled my hand away and said, okay, this is for you. He pulled out a brocade box. I thought it suited you perfectly the moment I saw it. This bracelet is made of warm jade, perfect for your cold body, he said, ready to put it on me. In my past life, he said he had never loved me, yet every word of concern, every handhold, and every gift misled me into thinking we liked each other. As I got out of the car, I discreetly removed the bracelet and placed it in the compartment next to the rearview mirror. If I didn't want to get involved, I shouldn't have accepted his gifts. During the week, I managed to go home and sort out all the gifts Lu Yuanchao had given me before. There were windmills from my childhood, sand paintings I liked, and later, jewelry. I didn't expect them to fill a large cardboard box. I sealed the box and tucked it away in the back of the wardrobe. There was no need to return these things deliberately, but I wouldn't open them again. My dancing talent was praised by Mr. Wang from the dean's office. He asked if I wanted to study abroad. Fan Yuqing, Professor William admires you, and there are better conditions to support you. You should cherish this opportunity. In my previous life, Mr. Wang also told me this, and I shared the good news with Lu Yuanchao right away. Yuqing, it's a good thing you can go for further studies. He hesitated before speaking, but as a girl, being so far from home, what if you get bullied? If something really happened, I would be heartbroken too. He looked at me. His tone deliberately softened with tenderness. Back then, I thought he truly couldn't bear to part with me. Facing Teacher Wang's persuasion, I clung to Lu Yuanchao's arm and declared firmly, he's all I need. Now, looking back, it seems utterly ridiculous. Teacher, I will cherish it, I said firmly. Okay, then discuss it with your family. If everything is fine, we'll leave in a week. 4. Sister, you mentioned moving to live at school before, and now you're going abroad. Is it because of the incident when you fell into the water last time? Fan Yushan said with a trembling voice. I apologize to you, sister. Please don't leave. Okay, Yuqing, Yushan didn't mean it, so don't be willful. Mother walked over to Fan Yushan's side. It's not safe for a girl to go to such a distant place. Yes, sister, the universities in Jing City are also very good, close to home, and we can be with you. Fan Yushan looked at me. It's the same again, the same words as in my previous life. I'm going abroad to complete my studies better. It has nothing to do with others. Tired of wasting words with them, I turned and went back to my room. At night, I was woken by a commotion downstairs. What happened, Auntie Wang? I rubbed my sleepy eyes. Miss, the second young lady fainted, Auntie Wang said, her eyes weary. Master and Madam have taken her to the hospital. The moonlight slanted in through the window, casting a line of light and shadow across my shocked face. Why did Yushan faint again? Probably too heartbroken. Madam said she cried half the night. She pressed her temples, muttering to herself as she turned back to her room. I hope this time it's real. I lowered my eyelids to hide the sarcasm in my eyes. The timing of these fainting spells is always so precise. In the hospital, Fan Yushan's eyelashes were wet with tears. As she opened her eyes, she sniffled twice. Dad, Mom, did I make you worry again? It's all my fault. I shouldn't be so weak. As she spoke, tears streamed down her face. Mother placed a soft pillow behind her neck, her eyes red. Don't cry, don't cry. The doctor said you're just too sad. Rest for a couple of days and you'll be fine. You're such a well-behaved child, always keeping your to yourself. Dad handed her a glass of warm water. If something's bothering you, just tell Dad. I'll stand up for you. Fan Yushan's expression became a bit unnatural when she saw me come in. Sister, Her voice was hoarse. I'm sorry, sister. It's all my fault. I made you come all this way. If I hadn't fainted, you wouldn't have had to go through so much trouble. I didn't respond. Placing the thermos on the table, Auntie Wang made this. You need to eat something light now. Sister, can you not go abroad? A tear suddenly rolled down her eyelashes. I'll be lonely if you leave. Get some rest. I'm going back to school. I turned and left, uninterested in her performance. As I reached the hospital entrance, I ran into Lu Yuanchao getting out of his car. Yuqing, is Yushan alright? You shouldn't have made her sad. Go see her. She needs you right now. With that, I left without looking back. Watching my retreating figure, Lu Yuanchao felt a strange emotion and then turned to head upstairs. I informed Teacher Wang of my decision. Alright, I'll have them book the ticket. Teacher Wang patted my shoulder with a sense of relief. Remember, your career won't let you down, Mr. Wang's encouragement pierced my heart. Yes, only one's career will never betray you. Why didn't I understand this in my previous life? In the evening, I was reviewing my lessons. The phone screen on my desk lit up. Yuqing, do you really have to go abroad? The pop-up dialog box displayed Lu Yuanchao's name. Yes, I replied briefly. After a long while, the screen lit up again. Can we talk? There's no need. I shut down the device. At noon, I returned to the dorm with my classmates, and downstairs, I saw Lu Yuanchao standing under the plane tree. Yuqing, he approached me. Can we talk, please? I let my classmates go back first and went to the back field with him. Speak. I stood still. Can you not go abroad? He tried to put his hand on my shoulder, but I subtly avoided it. Why? I stared into his eyes. I don't want you to leave. He averted his gaze. It's not you. I gazed at him. It's Fang Yushan, isn't it? When we were kids and sharing candy, Fang Yushan would always hold on to the biggest one, then look up at me with a face that clearly wanted to eat it but was trying hard to resist, saying, Sister, you eat it. I don't like sweet things. When I went to the dance studio to practice, she would actively accompany me, helping me organize my dance shoes while hiding the shadows in her eyes, proudly boasting to others, my sister dances so well. On the day of the music exam, she would accidentally hide the sheet music deep in the drawer, causing me to panic at the last moment. In the end, she would tearfully apologize to me in front of our parents. Sister, it's all my fault. If only I had reminded you. Now she wraps dependence and reluctance over her jealousy, slowly binding the wings I want to soar with. What are you talking about? Lu Yuanchao's throat tightened as he took a half step back. Yushan is just worried about you, afraid you'll get hurt outside, worried about me. I took a step forward, my voice as calm as a frozen lake. Worried about me? Would you hide my materials during the exam to throw me off? Worried about me? Would you deliberately disappear at the celebration to make me anxious? Worried about me? Would you pretend to spill ink on my application materials? Now, are you going to faint just to stop me from going abroad for further studies because you're worried about me? I stared into his eyes and asked word by word. 5. Lu Yuanchao's face turned pale. Yuqing, those are just trivial matters. He grabbed my wrist, speaking incoherently. Yushan, she's just too afraid of losing you. Yushan loves you as her sister. You can't deny her just because of this small matter. I gently pulled my hand away. I have my own life, not to fulfill Fan Yushan's needs, nor do I need her telling me what to do. Please don't bother me anymore in the future. With that, I turned and left. Watching my resolute back, he suddenly roared from behind. You're really leaving, aren't you? Once you go, don't come back. Those words were like a sharp knife, piercing straight through my heart. In my past life, he had said something similar, but back then, I was filled with love for him and ran back crying, begging for his forgiveness. Now, looking back, it just seems ridiculous. This time, I didn't look back, my steps firm. In the distance, a burst of colorful fireworks blossomed, as if bidding farewell to my decaying old dreams. The night before heading to the airport, I packed my luggage and sat at my desk, my fingertips tracing the pages of the diary filled with my innermost thoughts. In these pages, I poured out all my love for Lu Yuanchao, sweet, shy, and my hopes for a future together with him. I tore it into pieces, bidding farewell to my past life once and for all. Suddenly, I recalled the memory of the car accident from my previous life. Right after I was reborn, that car accident ended my beloved dancing career. When Lu Yuanchao knelt down with a diamond ring to propose, I happily agreed to become a housewife. That day, I sprained my ankle, and Lu Yuanchao drove me to school. On the way, I received a call from Fang Yushan. Chaoga, I'm so scared. Can you come and be with me? Lu Yuanchao's heart was instantly gripped with worry. Yushan, don't cry first. What's wrong? Take your time and tell me. My palms were sweaty. And I anxiously watched him. I dreamed of my sister. She fell into the sea, came the choked voice from the phone. There, don't cry. Your sister is fine. Lu Yuanchao patiently comforted her. Brother Chow, I'm scared. Can you come pick me up to find my sister? I'm worried about her. Okay, I'm coming over now. Wait for me, Lu Yuanchao said, turning the car around and glancing at me. We'll go back to pick up Yushan and then take you together. Before he could finish speaking, in the moment he was distracted, a truck crashed into them. My thoughts were still consumed by the fear of that moment when my phone screen suddenly lit up. It was a message from Lu Yuanchao. I'll pick you up at 7 a.m. tomorrow at the dormitory, and take you to the airport. I stared at the message for a long time, my fingertips icy cold. Because of his distraction, I lost a leg. Out of guilt and pity, he proposed to me. Before that, he had been wavering between me and Fan Yushan. He couldn't bear to give up the admiration I brought him by standing by his side, yet he enjoyed Fan Yushan's dependence and adoration. I replied, no need, I've already made an appointment. Putting down my phone, my heart was at peace. In this life, I won't repeat the same mistakes, and I won't let anyone shackle my ability to soar. The next morning, I walked out of the dormitory with my suitcase. Under the plane tree stood the familiar black car, with Lu Yuanchao leaning against the door. He greeted me with his usual gentle smile. Let's go, I'll take you. I didn't respond and walked past him straight to the taxi at the school gate. The driver helped me put my suitcase in the trunk, then glanced back after getting in. Your friend? No. Lu Yuanchao's smile froze on his face in the rearview mirror. Fan Yushan leaned out from the passenger seat, her bangs lifted by the wind, and her always misty eyes filled with anxiety and resentment, as the car left the school gate. I saw the black sedan suddenly rush out, its engine roaring as it grew larger in the rearview mirror. The driver sharply turned the steering wheel to avoid the car, his voice full of shock and anger. This driver's gone mad. I tightly gripped the handle above the car door, my heart racing. As the car approached the intersection, the red light had just turned on when a large truck suddenly came barreling from the diagonal rear, as it narrowly missed a black sedan. The air current generated by the truck's body almost toppled the guardrail by the roadside. Lu Yuanchao frantically spun the steering wheel, and the car, like a leaf swept away by a fierce wind, slammed hard into the barrier, the loud, sharp crash piercing through the eardrums. The taxi driver, terrified, stomped on the brakes, causing the needles on the dashboard to tremble violently. I turned back to see Fan Yushan struggling to climb out of the deformed car door. Her arm stretched out towards me, her mouth opening and closing. Lu Yuanchao lay sprawled over the steering wheel, his usually gentle features twisted into a grotesque shape under the sunlight. I took a deep breath, closed my eyes, and said to the driver, Master, could you please hurry? I'm in a rush. 7. As I watched the chaos in the rearview mirror shrink into a blurry shadow, my heart gradually calmed down. Arriving at the airport, I received a message from Teacher Wang. Professor William is already waiting for you there. Good luck. My finger brushed over the words good luck on the screen, and the anxiety in my heart finally subsided. I glanced back at the familiar city and resolutely boarded the plane. Life abroad was busy yet fulfilling. I poured my sweat into the dance studio and absorbed knowledge in the classroom. Occasionally, after late-night practice, I would find messages from my parents on my phone. They mentioned that Fan Yushan was sick again, crying all night clutching her pillow. They said Lu Yuanchao often talked about me, sometimes staring at my photo in a daze. I felt no emotional, simply replied got it, and continued with my life. Half a year later, my mother called me, her voice hesitant. Yushan and Lu Yuanchao are engaged. My voice remained flat. Today at the engagement party, Yushan cried a lot. She said she was sorry to you. You're her older sister, could you please talk to her? Mother's tone was a bit embarrassed. It was clear that she knew this request was a bit much. Mom, I said, tying the satin ribbons of my dance shoes in front of the mirror, this is her own choice, Yuching, but she's still your sister. Blood is thicker than water. Mother's breathing grew heavy. She chose her path, and she should walk it herself. I didn't let her continue. I knew my sister wouldn't forgive me. She just can't stand to see me happy. Fan Yushan's sharp cry suddenly came from the other end. My mother quickly hung up the phone, as if afraid I would hear, or perhaps rushing to comfort Fan Yushan. I smiled and shook my head. Those people and things were already none of my concern. At an international dance exchange event, I met Su Yanting. He is an architect, gentle and refined, here to seek inspiration at the exchange event. After the crowd gradually dispersed, he slowly walked to the backstage entrance, extending his hand. Miss Fang, you are very talented. There was no trace of frivolous appraisal in his eyes, only respect and appreciation for me as I am. We became friends. He would interpret my dance with his knowledge of architecture, remember that I liked to drink warm lemon honey water after practicing, and when I received my doctorate, he held sunflowers and said, "You shine brighter than the sun when you stand on stage." Our love was not filled with dramatic moments, just a steady, flowing stream. A year later, we entered the marriage hall with the witness of our friends. The following year, I gave birth to a pair of twins, adding a vibrant energy to our home. Su Yanting pampered us three, mother and two children, like little princesses and princes, and our days were like tea slowly steeped in warm water, rich and enduring. The past, once torn apart by betrayal, was eventually smoothed out and warmed by happiness. 10 years later, I returned to China with my family due to an important dance tour. In the airport terminal, my parents were already waiting, their bent figures illuminated by the dome light. As soon as they saw me, their eyes welled up, and they awkwardly stroked their grandson's head, choking up and unable to speak. Turning around, I was suddenly knocked back by someone, only to look up and recognize Lu Yuanchao. He looked much older than 10 years ago, with graying temples and a gaunt figure. "Yuqing, you finally returned." His voice was hoarse, his eyes filled with an inextinguishable regret. Su Yanting instinctively shielded me behind him, his manner polite yet distant. "Sir, may I ask who you are?" "I am her." Lu Yuanchao's throat convulsed violently, his voice choked. "I am her friend." I calmly looked at him. "Long time no see," my voice devoid of any emotion. "We're in a hurry to get to the theater, so if you'll excuse us." The tour was a great success, and the thunderous applause from the audience filled the room as the spotlight shone on me once again. My gaze swept over the front row, and I spotted Fang Yushan in the audience. She was wearing what looked like a borrowed gown, her eyes filled with undisguised envy. At the end, she stopped me backstage, her face tear-streaked. "Sister, why did you come back?" She leaned in close, her makeup smeared, her voice frantic. "It's you. You ruined my life. He's always only had you in his heart. He never loved me." Her eyes suddenly turned wild. "Why should you have a family of your own? I can't have happiness, and neither will you." Su Yanting pushed her away with a forceful shove, shielding the children in his arms, watching her drown in her pain. I suddenly felt a deep sense of pity. Her parents rushed over and pulled her into their embrace. Mother held my hand, her voice choked with emotion. "Yuqing, please forgive her this once for the sake of her being your sister. She's just too deeply in love with Lu Yuanchao." I gently pulled my hand away. "Mom, you've never asked what I really wanted." In the end, I didn't call the police, but my heart was completely broken. After the tour ended, I left the city with my family. As the plane taxied, Su Yanting held my hand. Thinking about the past, I looked out the window at the shrinking cityscape and smiled. Thankfully, I didn't look back 10 years ago. I heard about them again a year later. Lu Yuanchao and Fang Yushan got divorced, and on the day they got their divorce certificate, they almost came to blows at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Fang Yushan moved back to her parents' home, spending her days in tears. Lu Yuanchao, on the other hand, quit his job and scoured everywhere for news of me, but could no longer find me. However, none of this concerns me anymore. My life is blissful, with a caring husband, adorable children, and the spotlight on stage. Those betrayals once thought to be unforgettable have eventually faded into vague shadows over time. In this lifetime, I have finally found the sunshine that truly belongs to me. The end. That's the end of the first story. Don't go away. The next one is even more exciting. In my past life, I was the envied wife of a high-ranking official. But my husband, Meng Shuren, was injured in both his vocal cords and groin on the battlefield. He lost both his male function and his ability to speak. Therefore, I spent 40 years in a sexless marriage with Meng Shuren. I never despised him, uncomplainingly living like a widow for half a lifetime with a mute. On my 60th birthday, I accidentally found over 500 phone cards in his study. All were calls to the military troop beauty he could never have. It turned out he wasn't unable to speak. Just didn't want to talk to me. He's not incapable of being a man, just not my man. The devastating blow led me to die with resentment. I opened my eyes again and found myself back in 1984. In this lifetime, I will no longer endure any for any man. The 1980s were a fertile ground for entrepreneurship, riding the spring breeze of reform and opening up. I am going to Shenzhen to strive. The Shenzhen Special Economic Zone was established in August 1980, and has only been developing for 4 years. Transportation from my hometown to there was very underdeveloped. In this era, there are naturally no planes or high-speed trains, so we have to take the old green-painted trains. Not only do we have to transfer 3 times, but the earliest train is also on Sunday. I drew a circle with a red pen on the calendar. In 5 days, I will leave this remote and secluded small village. Borrowed the women's director's bicycle and rode it all afternoon. Finally arriving at the station just before sunset to buy the ticket, turning my head, I saw Meng Xian just getting off the train at the exit. I was reborn, and he was 40 years younger, tall and upright, with sharp eyebrows and bright eyes. He exuded an aura of heroism. Being the youngest regimental commander in the army, the future is limitless. He was the man I loved for decades in my past life. I naively believed that as long as we were on the same marriage certificate, we were a family. Even if he couldn't speak, couldn't consummate the marriage, or give me a child, I had no complaints. Instead, she devoted her entire life with love and passion to care for him, to warm him. In the end, she made her own life a big joke. Upon seeing me, Meng Xian furrowed his handsome brows. He spoke up, a bit displeased. Yi Tan, didn't I tell you not to come to the station to pick me up? It just dawned on me that today is the day Meng Xian is returning from the military for a visit. During this time in my previous life, I sent him a telegram, saying that we'd been engaged for 3 years, and in the countryside, a 20-year-old is considered an old maid, so I told Meng Xian that I was getting married and moving to join the military. In the military, once an officer reaches a certain rank, they can bring their wife and children to live together. It also helps military dependents with employment and education, for couples who have been long distance. This is the most anticipated thing. Meng Xian became a regimental commander last year, qualifying him to have his family join him in the military. I've been hoping he would come and take me away, but he has consistently disagreed. I got anxious and sent him a telegram, saying that if he didn't come to get me, I would pack my bags and go to the base to find him. Meng Xian had no choice but to return reluctantly, and he specifically told me not to pick him up at the station. I knew he was deliberately distancing himself from me. In my previous life, I was very sad. I felt that since we were engaged, even without getting married or consummating the marriage, in the countryside we were considered husband and wife. I want to be with Meng Xian, hoping to get our marriage certificate soon, so I can take care of his daily needs when I join the army. I also want to have his children, but in this lifetime I've given up the idea of being an army wife. I was so focused on striving in Shenzhen that I even forgot about Meng Xian's return. I came to buy a ticket to Shenzhen, not to pick him up. Meng Xian misunderstood, and his handsome face was filled with impatience. Why the rush? We're still young, there's no need to rush into marriage. It's tough in the military, going with the troops isn't about enjoying life. If you go, you'll only distract me. I still want to keep improving. Meng Xian immediately brought up reasons why he didn't want me to join the military. I'm not here to pick you up. I also think it's too early to get married. I'm not joining the army. My words filled Meng Xian's face with shock, but then came a mocking laugh. Yi Tan, when did you learn to play the game of retreat to advance? Meng Xian thought I was madly in love with him and simply didn't believe I had given up the idea of accompanying him to the military. I don't feel like explaining anything. Anyway, I'm leaving for Shenzhen in 5 days. From now on, the sky is high and the earth is vast, with no more ties. It's over 40 miles from the city to the village. I borrowed the women's director's bicycle to ride here. On the way back, Meng Xian rode the bike with me on the back. He naturally rode faster than me. But it still took him over 2 hours to get back to the village. Throughout the journey, he didn't say a single word to me. The entire ride was filled with an awkward silence. It reminded me of the silent loneliness of 40 years of marriage in my previous life. It was past 8 in the evening when we arrived at the village. The villagers were frugal and didn't like to turn on the lights at night, so the whole village was pitch dark. Our arrival in the village set off a chorus of barking dogs. My mother passed away early, and my father died 10 years ago while saving Meng Xian. I've been living at the Meng household all these years. Uncle and Aunt Meng are very kind, always treating me like their daughter-in-law. Seeing us enter the house, Aunt Meng heated up food by the stove while nagging at Xian. Son, you made the right decision by bringing your wife to the army. If we're together every day, we'll get to hold a big, chubby grandson soon. Meng Xian tightly pressed his lips together and remained silent. He is a man with very firm ideas. In his previous life, because he didn't marry the woman he loved, he preferred to live childless and let the Meng family die out. Uncle Meng and Aunt Meng both passed away with regrets. Be good to Yezi. The Yi family has done you a great favor. If it weren't for your Uncle Yi saving you back then, you wouldn't even be alive, let alone become a regimental commander. Uncle Meng noticed his son's impatience and quickly gave him some advice. Alright, I already said I would marry her. Can you stop pressuring me? I'm grateful that Uncle Yi saved me, but it was just an accident back then. I'd rather be dead than owe someone such a huge favor. Let me repay it with my entire life. 10 years ago, my father was the head of the militia in our village. That year, a flash flood occurred, and Mengshuren was swept into the ravine. It was my father who jumped into the water and desperately saved Mengshuren, but he perished due to exhaustion. I became an orphan and have lived at the Meng household ever since. Child, from now on you are our beloved daughter of the Meng family, and you will be Shuren's wife. This promise ruined my life. Mengshuren married me because of this promise, but he felt he was being morally coerced. He resented me for taking over his life and delaying his love, even after 40 years of marriage. He refused to touch me or even speak to me. What kind of attitude is that? Are you even speaking like a human? Do you really think that just because you're a regimental commander, I won't discipline you? You little brat, even if you become a commander, I'm still your father. Uncle Meng was fuming. He grabbed a rolling pin, fearing I would be upset, ready to hit Shuren Meng. Uncle, he's tired, let's eat first. I intervened to defuse the situation. In a few days, I'll be leaving anyway. I just want peace, not noise. I know better. The angrier Uncle Meng gets, the more Mengshuren will detest me. People like him, who are stubborn, can't be beaten into submission. Oh, my dear, Aunt Meng held my hand and whispered her advice. You've got to keep a man in check. Don't give in to him too much. What a wonderful mother-in-law. But it seems we were never meant to have a mother-in-law relationship in this lifetime. As soon as I sat down at the table and before I could even pick up my chopsticks, I heard the village loudspeaker blaring with the village secretary's booming voice. Sean, the army is calling, saying there's an urgent matter. I'm saying this one more time. Mengshuren heard the announcement and stood up abruptly. I have to get back to the unit. He grabbed his backpack and left without looking back. Exactly the same as the scene from his previous life. He hadn't even had time to settle in at home when Chi Rongrong called him away. Chi Rongrong is an artistic soldier from the military art troupe. She is beautiful, a talented singer and dancer, and can also recite poetry. Mengshuren's White Moonlight. Although back in those days, the term white moonlight wasn't popular yet, but with just one word from Chi Rongrong, Mengshuren would go through fire and water, climb mountains and descend seas. After Mengshuren left in my previous life, Uncle Meng and Aunt Meng sent me to the army and even found a division commander to be our witness. Under pressure, Mengshuren finally agreed to marry me and let me join the military, but on our wedding night, he was called away by a phone call from Chi Rongrong. Then he said he had to go on a mission. When he returned, his vocal cords and groin were both injured. I remained a virgin my entire life. For the next 40 years, my husband and I could only communicate through writing and gestures. I swallowed my tears and devoted myself to taking care of his daily life. I served my in-laws. I was so foolish. I never thought about how, if he were really mute, he could have risen from a regimental commander to a high-ranking military officer. He had already retired due to illness. He could communicate and give orders perfectly fine in the army. He just didn't feel like talking to me at home. Anyway, I was always well-behaved and never pried into his military affairs. That's how I was kept in the dark for decades. It wasn't until my 60th birthday when I was cleaning his study that I discovered a box containing over 500 phone cards. All of them were IC cards specifically for making international calls. Because Chi Rongrong later married abroad, divorced twice, and did not live well, Mengshuren felt he had let down his first love. So he decided to make up for it with 40 years of tenderness. The house and car Chi Rongrong has abroad were both bought by him. He refused to have children with me, yet treated the 3 children Chi Rongrong had with her first 2 husbands as his own, responsible for the tuition and living expenses of the 3 children. Even their wedding was attended by Mengshuren as the representative of the bride's family. I was completely kept in the dark about all this. I never asked him where he spent the money. Absolute trust, only to be met with the coldest betrayal. After learning the truth, my mental world crumbled. This desperate fall from the balcony. So I live again. I'm done with men who can't be warmed up. There are 4 days left until I go to Shenzhen, and I'm packing my things for the trip. Although orphans are lonely, the advantage is that they have no attachments and can leave whenever they want. A few sets of clothes for changing have been packed into the luggage bag. A hidden pocket was sewn into the inner garment with needle and thread, containing an ID card and 300 yuan. This is all my savings. In 1984, a city worker's monthly salary was only around 30 yuan. 300 yuan was definitely a substantial sum of money. This is the pension after my father's sacrifice. I saved it for 10 years and never touched it. In my previous life, When I married Meng Xian, I used this money to buy him a Shanghai-branded watch. I also bought a sewing machine and a brand new Forever bicycle, both of which I brought with me to the military. I never saw him wear that watch even once. Of course, I won't be the one chasing after someone who's not interested in this lifetime. These 300 yuan are the capital for my startup in Shenzhen. Seeing me pack my luggage, Uncle Meng and Aunt Meng thought I was going to join the army, and they were very happy. I refused when they offered to send me. Auntie Meng gave me 500 yuan again, claiming it was the betrothal gift from the Meng family, but I kept refusing. Auntie Meng wouldn't take no for an answer and insisted on giving it to me. I had no choice but to accept it. My father gave his life for the Meng family, and I take this money with a clear conscience. 3 days before leaving for Shenzhen, I went to say goodbye at my parents' graves. Mom and Dad, I'm going to Shenzhen to contribute to the nation's reform and opening up efforts. Wait for your daughter to return. Don't worry, I'll be happy even without Meng Shuren. Sunday arrived, and I bid farewell to Uncle Meng and Aunt Meng, leaving the mountain village where I had lived for over 20 years. The green train rumbled towards Shen City. The distance to Shen City is over 1,000 kilometers. 3 back and forth trips take 3 days and 2 nights. I wonder if it's coincidence or fate. The city where the first back and forth trip took place is where Meng Xian's troops are stationed. There's a 3-hour break during the back and forth trips. I never considered using this free time to say goodbye to Meng Xian. It's unnecessary, and he wouldn't care anyway. I was just eating noodles at the state-run guest house outside the train station when I unexpectedly ran into Meng Xian and saw Qi Rongrong. In the early 1980s, people's clothing came in only 2 colors, military green and light gray. Qi Rongrong stood out in the crowd wearing a pale yellow dress. The two of them were also having a meal here. Qi Rongrong also had a large bag by her side. It seems to contain performance costumes, likely indicating that the cultural troupe is going out to perform. Meng Shuren came to see someone off at the station. My eyes met with Meng Shuren's in the air. I didn't want to speak, planning to pretend I didn't recognize him, but after his face flushed slightly with embarrassment, he quickly regained his sense of superiority, a full expression. He strode up to me. Yi Tan, you're getting more and more self-willed. I didn't go to pick you up. Who told you to come to the army on your own? Do you think joining the army is like playing house? It requires a lot of procedures. You're just making things harder for me. From a young age, Meng Shuren has always been an outstanding person. He was also a key trainee in the army, and I've always seen him as so confident that he's almost narcissistic. Meng Shuren, I was just passing by, not looking for you. Ha ha ha, Meng Shuren laughed with full mockery. Yi Tan, how did you learn to lie now? Not a single word of truth from your mouth. A few days ago, you said you wouldn't marry me, and now you're chasing me to the military. I've told you many times, I'm focused on building my career, and I don't want you holding me back. He was about to say something more, but Qi Rongrong spoke softly. Commander Meng, cool off outside for a bit. I'll talk to Sister Yi. Sister Yi came here exhausted, seeking refuge with you. Don't let her feel disheartened. Meng Xian snorted and left the guest house. Qi Rongrong approached me, her smile gone from her face, whispering provocatively in a voice only the two of us can hear. What makes you think the regiment leader would marry a country bumpkin like you, chasing after him all the way to the military camp? You really have no shame. Isn't it just because you threatened Shuren with your father's life? Ha! The life of a country hick is worthless. He deserved to die. She wanted to say something more. Smack! I had just delivered a hard slap across Qi Rongrong's face. I had been waiting for this slap for 2 lifetimes, so I put all my strength into it. 5 clear handprints appeared on Qi Rongrong's fair little face. In my previous life, after I joined the army, Qi Rongrong said almost the exact same thing. Although I was furious, I held back from striking out, fearing Meng Xian might think me a shrew. As a result, Qi Rongrong deliberately fell down to falsely accuse me of hitting her. So this is the one and only slap I'll ever give her in this lifetime. That way, she won't have to put on a fake act. Qi Rongrong's face showed a flash of astonishment. Clearly, she didn't expect me to actually dare to strike. But the surprise is coming soon, she cried, covering her face. Captain, she hit me. Meng Xian rushed in as soon as he heard the commotion. Yi Tan, you're getting more and more outrageous. Apologize. Qi Rongrong covered her face, a hint of satisfaction flashing in her eyes. In my previous life, I was forced to apologize. I cried and explained that it was Qi Rongrong who provoked me first, and I didn't even raise a hand, but Meng Shuren wouldn't listen at all. He couldn't believe Qi Rongrong would say something so vicious. Rongrong reads poetry, Shelley, Goethe, Pushkin. I refused to believe she could be so mean. I certainly don't need to explain myself in this lifetime. I couldn't eat another bite, so I got up and left. This was the first time in all these years that I defied Mengshuren. He was already furious. If you won't apologize, get the hell out. I won't marry a shrew like you. I stopped and turned my head. Mengshan, don't worry, you won't see me again. He suddenly felt a bit panicked. What do you mean? That's exactly what you hoped for. Fortunately, we were only engaged. Not officially married, so our marriage is now cancelled. From now on, you and I have no connection whatsoever. Don't feel obligated. Even though my father gave his life to save you, you don't have to marry me. As you said, it was just an accident. My dad is a good man. He would save anyone who fell into the river. Not intentionally trying to blackmail you into marrying me. His daughter isn't that bad. She doesn't have to resort to such tactics to get married. Hearing me say that, Mengshuren's face showed embarrassment and shame. That's not what I meant. I'm really grateful to Uncle Meng. No need to thank him. He has passed away. These words are meaningless now. I turned around and walked into the station. Mengshuren thought I was convinced by him to return to the village. Let out a long breath and caught up again. I'll take you back to the village. Just give me a few more days about joining the army. Even now, Mengshuren still doesn't believe I'm really breaking up with him. I can't be bothered to explain anymore. Crash. Chi Rongrong deliberately knocked over the table, and the noodles I had just ordered and taken a bite of spilled all over her. Mengshan quickly stopped in his tracks, intending to go back and take care of his white moonlight. Call me when you get home. He fished out 100 yuan from his pocket and stuffed it into my hand, then turned and ran back. I strode into the station, though I told myself not to cry. Tears still streamed down involuntarily. Farewell, Mengshuren. From this moment on, you have been erased from my life. From now on, my joys and sorrows have nothing to do with you. After 3 days and 2 nights of rocking, the train finally arrived in Shenzhen. I visited Shenzhen a few times in my past life. But back then, Shenzhen was already on par with Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou, ranking as a top-tier domestic city and enjoying international renown for its prosperity. It had become a major metropolis. However, over 40 years ago, Shenzhen started as a small fishing village. 1984 was the year when Shenzhen was at its most vibrant, poised for rapid development. After my rebirth, I chose to strive in Shenzhen because it is a paradise for entrepreneurs chasing their dreams. I walked the streets of Shenzhen, although the streetscape at this moment is still humble, with few skyscrapers in sight and no luxury cars lining the roads. The crowd was bustling, and dialects from all over the country could be heard. These were young people chasing their dreams in Shenzhen. Decades later, many well-known entrepreneurs and billionaires would emerge from this group. I was fortunate to be one of them. With the advantage of being reborn, I am sure I will succeed as well. This won't let down the chance heaven has given me to try again. I already have a plan for what to do in Shenzhen. Although there are many factories in Shenzhen at this time, there are state-owned enterprises, joint ventures, and foreign-invested companies. But I never considered working in a factory, because I only have a junior high school education. Even if I were reborn, I wouldn't suddenly become a scientific genius. I can't create high-tech products like computers, phones, or chips. Besides, I have limited capital, only 1,000 yuan. I can only do businesses that have low entry barriers, require little investment, but still generate profit. Service industry. To be more specific, it's about running a restaurant. Although this era has become more open, allowing people to engage in business and commerce, individual industrial and commercial operators are referred to as self-employed households. However, due to the limitations of thought, the vast majority of people in society still consider being a self-employed household to be improper, even shameful, disgraceful. The best options are still joining the military or working in a factory. It's best to work in a state-owned factory. This is called an iron rice bowl. Therefore, private individual economies are rare. As you walk down the street, apart from state-run restaurants, post offices, supply and marketing cooperatives, and grocery stores, you can hardly see any other shops. Take the restaurants for example. The waitstaff in state-run restaurants are all formal, permanent employees, so there was no such thing as the customer is God or smiling service. The waiters are all incredibly arrogant. It's really hard to get in, the faces are unfriendly, and the words are harsh. So many people, even if they have money in their pockets, don't want to eat at these state-run restaurants. It's all too easy to leave not having had a good meal, but a belly full of anger. So I'm planning to start my entrepreneurial journey by opening a small snack shop. The location is chosen in the Shiko industrial zone of Shenzhen, I counted, and there are over 100 factories here, with a total of about 50,000 to 60,000 workers, mostly from out of town, single and without the conditions to cook for themselves. Workers here earn more compared to those in the mainland. Some workers can even earn 200 yuan a month, although many factories have canteens. People naturally want to improve their living conditions when they have money, enjoy a good meal, so the catering industry is definitely a necessity. Moreover, I have a unique advantage. After joining the army in my previous life, I worked in the logistics department of the army, responsible for managing the mess hall. Soldiers in the army come from all over the country, and they have a wide range of preferences when it comes to food, since I had no warmth at home and no one to talk to. So my only interest was cooking, studying the flavors of food, signature dishes, and local snacks from all over the country: Shandong cuisine, Sichuan cuisine, Cantonese cuisine, Fujian cuisine, Jiangsu cuisine, Zhejiang cuisine, Hunan cuisine, Anhui cuisine. There's nothing I can't do. I'm quite skilled at hot pot, barbecue, and noodles. I can even handle Western cuisine and desserts. Rent is cheap these days. I spent 150 yuan to rent a storefront on the street, and used the rest to buy pots, pans, and ingredients. Leaf Restaurant has officially opened. The 1980s was an era of supply being less than demand. As long as you have courage and are willing to work hard, you can't fail to make money. My restaurant was packed from the moment it opened because it could serve specialty dishes from all over the country. Many migrant workers in Shin City come to my place to eat, saying they can taste the flavor of home. I was too busy to handle everything myself, so I hired 2 waitresses. The 3 of us were spinning like tops, and after a month, although it was exhausting, we did the math. After deducting rent and waitstaff salaries, I netted 2,000 yuan. What was the significance of 2,000 yuan in 1984? It was the income of a worker's family for 2 years. It was the income of a farmer for 5 years. I cried looking at the ledger. These are tears of happiness. Women don't need men, because men will betray and hurt you, but the RMB never will. It's been half a year since I arrived in Shenzhen. The restaurant business is booming. My savings have reached 10,000, making me a respectable 10,000 yuan household. This was an enviable title in the 1980s, more prestigious than future millionaires. The scale of my restaurant has also grown. Initially, I rented 1 storefront, but now I rent 3. I now have 6 employees under me. I'm not a ruthless boss. I'm very generous with my staff. Their salaries are well above average, plus extra bonuses. As a result, everyone is highly motivated. That day, as I was busy at the restaurant, I suddenly heard a surprised voice. Yizi. I turned my head and was surprised to meet a fellow villager, Lu, the village accountant. He came to Shenzhen on business and happened to dine at my restaurant at noon. Of course, I was very warm towards my fellow villager. Not only did they add several hearty dishes, but they also picked up the tab. The accountant Lu didn't touch his chopsticks or eat. Instead, he looked anxious. Leaf, what are you doing here? You have no idea. The Meng family has been in chaos for the past 6 months trying to find you. And Commander Meng is going crazy. Half a year ago, I boarded the train to Shin City. The Meng family and the villagers all thought I was going to join the army and get married to Meng Xian. Later, while changing trains midway, I encountered Meng Xian and Qi Rongrong. Meng Xian thought the same. I was sent away again. He thought I had gone back to the village. No one knows I came to Shenzhen. This created a misinformation gap with double misunderstandings. The villagers thought I was in the army, and Meng Xian thought I was back in the village. The first few days were calm. It wasn't until a few days later that Meng Xian hadn't received my call to report that I was safe, so he called back to the village to ask. Only then did he find out that I hadn't returned at all. I just vanished out of thin air. Everyone was frantic. Meng Xian took leave and searched everywhere for me. I don't have a phone. Back then, there were no surveillance cameras, and train tickets weren't. Where could you find me? Meng Xian searched for 2 whole months but found nothing. The police station couldn't do anything either, so everyone thought something had happened to me. Must have been murdered on the way. Aunt Meng cried every day at home. Uncle Meng broke Xian's arm with a rolling pin. Call him a white-eyed wolf. Accuse him of killing me. The villagers also feel sorry for me, saying I'm pitiful. That's why Lu the accountant was so shocked to suddenly see me running a restaurant in Shenzhen. Looking so vibrant. Leaf, come back with me. Everyone is waiting for you. I shook my head. I'm not going back. I'm doing just fine in Shenzhen. Uncle Lu, Could you please go back and tell Uncle Meng and Aunt Meng that I'm doing well and they don't need to worry about me? Lu the accountant slapped his thigh hard. Why are you being so stubborn, girl? What about Commander Meng? Not getting married? No. I shook my head firmly. I have had nothing to do with him for a long time. After the accountant Lu left, I continued to work at the restaurant. The biggest inconvenience these days is not having mobile internet or the ability to make online payments. All transactions have to be done in cash. Every night after finishing my work, I have to carefully tally the cash I've received. The next day at noon, I go to the bank to deposit the money. It's best not to keep too much money on hand to avoid arousing envy, with my restaurant doing so well. It's impossible not to attract attention. That night it rained, and the outside was unusually dark. I rented a small house in the alley behind the restaurant. Just as I was about to lock the door of the restaurant and go back to rest, I was shoved back with tremendous force. I was pushed back into the room again. A sleazy man grinned maliciously as he entered the room. He was here to rob. There are too many people in Deep City. Some genuinely come to start businesses and get rich, while others come for illegal activities. He came in not just to rob money, but also to assault me. This little lady is quite pretty. The thug pinned me to the table and was about to commit a heinous act. Ah, I bit the thug's hand hard. He jumped up, clutching his bleeding hand and cursing. Are you part dog or something? The thug is still trying to bully me. I rushed into the kitchen and grabbed a kitchen knife. Don't come near me, or I'll fight you to the death. The thug wasn't scared off. Instead, it triggered his viciousness. Damn it, don't think I can't handle you, you little bitch. He charged at me again. I'd rather die than be defiled. I made up my mind. If I can't avoid it, I'll commit suicide. At the critical moment, don't move. A man in military uniform burst in. The military uniform exuded an aura of dominance, and the criminals fled in panic. It's Meng Shuren. Although he has a sling on one arm, indicating his fracture hasn't fully healed yet. But he easily subdued the thug with his other hand. The police station came to take the person away. It turned out to be a fugitive. Only after everything was done did Meng Xian look at me with a complex expression. Yen, you made me search so hard. Meng Xian came after hearing the news from the accountant Lu. Come back with me. Everyone at home is waiting for you. I want to marry you. I've already reported the matter of joining the army to the division commander. Stop messing around. I've had enough of the complaints since you disappeared these past 6 months. His handsome face was etched with exhaustion. Thank goodness you're safe, or I would never forgive myself for the rest of my life. Hearing that he was willing to marry me, I felt no excitement or happiness, because this is already a trivial matter to me. Commander Meng, thank you for saving me, but go back. I won't marry you. I've made it very clear to you before. Meng Xian felt somewhat embarrassed and angry. Yi Tan, don't push your luck. I've already compromised. What more do you want? This is only going to hurt you in the end. Isn't this just jealousy over Qi Rongrong? We're innocent. We're just spiritual soulmates. I shook my head firmly. I'm not making a scene. I just don't want to marry you. Whether you marry Qi Rongrong or someone else is none of my business. If you're worried about not being able to explain to Uncle Meng and Aunt Meng, I'll write you a letter, and in it, I'll say that I don't want to marry you. Okay, tell them not to push you. Hearing this, for the first time in 2 lifetimes, Meng Shuren truly believed that I didn't love him. I no longer want to be his wife. His face showed shock, confusion, and relief. I can understand all of this. He has finally let go of this big burden of mine, but why the sense of loss and reluctance? Are you serious? Really? I have already taken out stationery to write to Uncle Meng and Aunt Meng. Yi Tan, actually, I don't have no feelings for you at all. I just feel like everyone says I owe you. I feel pressured. I felt like marrying you was just completing a task. That's why I resisted. I didn't want to, he stammered, trying to explain. No need to say anything. None of this matters anymore. I gave the letter to Meng Xian. Commander Meng, we're all free now. After Shuren Meng left, my life went on. Before I knew it, the year was coming to an end, and it was time to return to my hometown to pay respects at my parents' graves. After 9 months of struggle in Shenzhen, I had earned 30,000 yuan. Returning to the village now would definitely be considered a triumphant homecoming. I am wearing beautiful clothes. I have a red down jacket on top and black high boots on the bottom. This outfit is so unusual that not only is it rarely worn in the interior, but many people haven't even seen it before. Since Shenzhen is close to Hong Kong, fashion and styles are influenced by what comes from there. Trends here are years ahead of those in inland cities, let alone the countryside. As soon as I entered the village, the whole place went into a frenzy. Dozens of kids surrounded me. I brought a lot of New Year's goods, and just the white rabbit candies filled a big bag. Everyone gets a share. The kids were over the moon. After my parents passed away, many kind villagers helped and looked out for me. I cannot forget these kindnesses. I went door to door to deliver New Year's red envelopes. Each red envelope contained 200 yuan. This is definitely a huge sum, and it has stirred up the whole village again. Everyone envies me for making money outside and being capable, of course. The red envelopes for Uncle Meng and Aunt Meng are separate. Each red envelope is 1,000. After all, they raised me for 10 years, although I couldn't become their daughter-in-law. I can't forget this kindness. Uncle Meng absolutely refused the red envelope, and later he got really upset. Girl, I have no face to take your money. Our Meng family has wronged you. Auntie Meng started crying. Child, my foolish son is not worthy of you. I could only comfort them. It was the 29th day of the lunar year. Uncle Meng and Aunt Meng insisted on keeping me at their house. At that moment, 2 more people entered, bringing a chill with them. Shuren Mei returned for the new year with Rongrong Chi. Meng Shuren stared at me in shock. Chi Rongrong glared at my down jacket and boots with intense jealousy, as if flames were shooting out of her eyes. Now that they're back, I certainly don't want to stay at the Mengs anymore, to avoid making things awkward for everyone, but Auntie Meng wouldn't let me leave no matter what. Completely ignored Chi Rongrong as if she didn't exist. In the end, I stayed in my original room. Aunt Meng finally agreed to talk to Chi Rongrong. No title, no status, no sharing a room, don't want people laughing at us. That night, Aunt Meng let Chi Rongrong stay in Meng Shan's room, but kicked Meng Shan out to the storage shed. There's no stove inside, and it gets really cold in winter. Aunt Meng didn't seem to care. She muttered curses under her breath. Freeze you, Chin Shimmy. This night was restless. First, in the middle of the night, Chi Rongrong needed to use the bathroom, but she absolutely refused to go to the outhouse, saying it was dirty. In the end, Meng Xian had to go out and borrow a spittoon. Auntie Meng was naturally even more displeased with Chi Rongrong. We country folks are like this. If you don't like the dirt, don't come. Who invited you anyway? Chi Rongrong was so angry that tears welled up in her eyes. Meng Xian couldn't hold back anymore. Mom, stop talking, little rooster, tail so long. Marries a wife and forgets his mother. Aunt Meng points at Shuren Meng. If you marry her, don't even think of acknowledging me as your mother. It wasn't until the early hours of the morning that the commotion finally subsided. The next morning, I was going to the cemetery to pay my respects to my parents, but I found my bright red down jacket slashed with scissors in more than a dozen places, large gashes. No need to ask. It must have been Chi Rongrong. This woman was driven mad by jealousy and upset by Aunt Meng, so she took out all her anger on me. It's nothing to me. But Uncle and Aunt Meng are furious. Even Meng Shuren lost his temper with Chi Rongrong for the first time. Rongrong, apologize. How could you do this? He looked at me with an apologetic expression. Yi Tan, I'm sorry. How much is this clothes? I'll pay for it. I shook my head. Forget it. It's worthless. I don't care. But Chi Rongrong is going crazy. You country bumpkin. What are you pretending for? What gives you the right to wear such beautiful clothes? Do you even deserve it? Ha, who knows where your money came from? I heard many shameless women go south to be prostitutes. You must have sold yourself too. Smack, a crisp slap rang out. This time, it was Meng Shuren who struck. He pointed at Chi Rongrong. Shut up, you hit me. I hate you so much. Chi Rongrong ran away crying. Meng Shuren didn't chase after her but looked at me with a conflicted expression. Yi, go after her. I'm fine. I'm going to visit the graves. I left the Meng household to visit my parents' graves. I left the village that very day. I no longer care about any further stories between Meng Shuren and Chi Rongrong. After the spring, Meng Shuren came to Shenzhen again. He brought me a red down jacket in the same style. He said it was compensation for me. I accepted it, but he refused to leave. Yen. I was wrong before, and actually, I still think you're great. Rongrong is too much. It was my fault before. I didn't appreciate what I had. Poetry is for occasional reading, not for daily life. He had a look of deep guilt in his eyes. Meng Shuren asked cautiously, Can we still? It's all in the past. I interrupted him. He left reluctantly. After that, he wrote me a letter almost every month, but I never opened any of them. I just threw them directly into the stove and burned them. Before I knew it, the end of the second year arrived, and I had already opened 3 restaurants. I now manage over 30 employees. My annual income exceeds 100,000. When I returned to my hometown, I didn't inform anyone. I only visited my parents' graves and left that same night. Because of me, some people from my hometown have come to work in Shenzhen. I always try my best to help, I heard that in 1987, Meng Shuren still married Qi Rongrong. It was Qi Rongrong who forced him. Meng Shuren never wanted to get married. Later, Qi Rongrong drugged him. Qi Rongrong caused a scene at the division headquarters, and Meng Xian had no choice but to marry her. However, the couple often argued and their relationship was strained. Qi Rongrong also had a difficult relationship with her in-laws. Eventually, Meng Shuren voluntarily requested to be stationed in the frontier, leading to a long-term separation. And they had no children. Then came the 1990s. I had become the chairman of a listed company. Besides catering, the industries included tourism, film, and real estate. After all, I've been reborn, so I naturally know which industries are booming. My personal wealth has exceeded 1 billion, but I've never gotten married. Men are boring. My career is my lifelong companion. The next time I heard about Meng Xian was in 1994. He was fired. The reason was that Qi Rongrong was insisting on going abroad, saying that there was less money to be made domestically and that she wanted to enjoy life overseas. Meng Xian disagreed. He was already the chief of staff of the division at that time, in charge of a significant amount of training funds. Qi Rongrong actually went to the extreme and stole the funds to go abroad, although she was later caught and imprisoned. Qi Rongrong was sent to jail. Meng Xian was also dismissed from the military due to negligence. By this time, Uncle Meng and Aunt Meng had passed away, so I naturally had no further contact with him. 20 more years passed, and it was 2024. I am 60 years old, the same age as when I was reborn in my previous life. My net worth has reached 30 billion. I still live alone, but I've done a lot of public welfare work. That day, my assistant drove me to attend a charity awards ceremony. As we passed the underground parking lot, I saw an old security guard dozing off inside, wearing a shabby green uniform. Meng Shuren, long time no see. That's all for today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Feel free to leave any suggestions in the comments below. See you in the next video.